Welcome to the course Professional Development, Expanding the Impact of Single Session Learning. So, I am very excited for the opportunity to be with you because I think we've all been in one of these two positions when it comes to professional development. So, we have situation one where you sit through hours and hours of professional development on a topic, and by the end of the session, you are exhausted or defeated, or you feel like your time was spent in almost a wasteful way. But also, you've probably had situation two as well, where you feel like you left a professional development session excited about a new idea, or talking with other stakeholders or colleagues about this idea that gets you encouraged. But maybe that only lasts until you get out the door, and then it kind of fizzles as the everyday stresses of teaching find their way back into your productivity mind. So in this course, I want to actually talk about a third option for professional development. I want to talk about an option C, where you can create and expand professional development sessions in a way that stakeholders can be still inspired by a relevant topic that's uplifting to the level of their instruction, but also expand that impact as educators outside of the session. We want ideas that we can support and that don't fizzle when you walk out the door, but instead they carry over to PLCs or daily instruction, and therefore your goal in this course is to identify and develop and brainstorm together ways to expand the impact of professional development beyond just a single session. I've learned when chasing big ideas of my own that the only barrier to a big idea is making it happen. And when we think about what causes us stress as an educator, it usually falls into one of three categories. It's a lack of time, it's a lack of will, or it's a lack of skill. And in a way, when we talk about professional development, doing quality professional development can actually help with those three things. So if you can dedicate time, like we do when we have PD, we can dedicate time to help develop skills that we may need in order to make the art of teaching easier, which helps with the time and the skill. And in some cases, seeing cohorts of peers get excited about new ideas can convert even individuals who may be missing the will. But if you're the one responsible for developing a session, then those three barriers exist for you as well in the creation or chasing of any good idea. Your time, your will, your skill. So something that sounds so simple, but I've used this three-step process a lot to get ideas across the finish line of presenting, and it's doing exactly these things, right? You have a big idea, and instead of putting it in the back of your filing cabinet because of the busy hustle of day-to-day instruction, instead you find time to put it on the calendar, you talk with some cohorts, and then once it's on the calendar, you have to do it, right? So when you have a big idea, putting it on the calendar and making it happen becomes so much more easy. So we are going to be doing exactly that through this course. You're going to have and developed your own PD idea. We're going to talk about ways that we can build it, and we're actually going to build it. And then we're going to talk about what we can do after a single session of PD to support that idea and to keep it going instead of having it stagnate. So I'm going to give you the formula that we are going to use throughout this course to build a session. So if you have these things involved, you're going to have a session that is going to be successful in your one-time PD, but also have some carryover after the fact. So throughout this course, we are going to identify a relevant, timely, and actionable topic or skill. Once we've identified that idea that you want to create or craft, then we have all of these different parts that we're going to include. And each week we're going to talk about a different one of these parts, and you're going to build it onto your session or idea. So at the end, you will have content ready to be showcased that will not only be impactful and hopefully timely, but also it'll have those carryovers as well. So we want to make sure that in that process, we're going to talk about the theory. So why is this important, this new content you want to present? You're going to show it off. If it's a skill, it's really easy to do this. You're going to model how it's done. You're going to give stakeholders an opportunity to practice. You're going to give them feedback on their practice. And then probably the hardest but most important part is you're going to build that hype and community and follow-up through collegial support. So, part of the professional development process is both learning new knowledge and practicing synthesizing new information as it fits into your already established schema. So each week, I'm going to discuss on these videos the schema part. I'm going to give you strategies and assignments that will help you gather and develop resources for each part of that high quality PD. And the text that we're going to use is going to help us identify how we can support the human element of those sessions. So we're going to use a little back and forth on both of these to help us develop a session that will be very impactful to hopefully our stakeholders involved. So we have homework this week, and it is split up into two parts. The first part is I want you to reflect on past professional development experiences. And I want you to come up with a couple examples that fit into each of these categories. So the first one I want you to think of is a past PD session that left you feeling very excited and inspired. And I want you to write out in our Google Classroom, what was it about that topic that got you so interested? Was it relevant? Was it timely? Was it the presenter or something else in the presentation of the information? And then on the flip side, I want you to think of a PD session that you attended that you maybe disliked. Maybe you felt it was a waste of time. What was the topic in that setting? And why don't you think that session worked well? In a way to develop high quality PD ourselves, we want to make sure that we can reflect on what we think we know works and does not work. But there's a part 2 as well. So for the second part of your homework, all I want you to do is identify a topic that you would like to explore. We're going to create a PD session throughout this course. You do not need to do anything else except identify the topic. No further work required. We're going to be doing that work in the weeks to come. So if you're getting stuck as you are thinking about a topic, try and choose a topic that fits into one of these 3 categories. Either identify a building or department need that you want to support, or you can brainstorm ideas that you yourselves just want to learn more about, or you can also choose a topic you're excited about, but maybe you haven't had the time to chase or explore. Any of those options are going to be helpful in our exploration of developing high quality PD. So next week, we are going to start looking at those different pieces of your topic, and we're going to grow your idea into something that can develop into a one-time PD session. And then as we go through, we're going to create that PD session, and at the end, we're also going to talk about ways that we can expand the impact of that single day, so that idea doesn't live and die on a single day, but it can be carried on and brought into the rest of your building processes with other stakeholders.